Hello everyone, this is Jim with another update from my Beating Obesity channel. Hope everyone's doing well. This is Labor Day. Labor Day, I think it's September 3rd. And I just wanted to make a brief video here. I hope everyone's doing well and gonna have some nice, hopefully relaxing time today or doing whatever. Hope your journeys are going well. Your individual goals are being met. I just gonna try to keep this short. I can try anyway. I'm not always successful keeping them short. Just a couple of thoughts. As summer's coming to a close, and it's really apparent. We're in September now. This is Chicago. The days are getting shorter. You can see it. There's less sunlight. The sun is lower in the sky. And I'm finding myself a little bit melancholy this year as we approach the end of this sunny season, the end of this summer. Because I have been, I've mentioned that I've been really out in the sun this year more than ever, and it was kind of started off as an attempt to test a hypothesis that I was reading about on Twitter. People talking about being able to tolerate the sun a lot more with the carnivore diet. Or with a diet that is also carnivore and devoid of seed oils, that the tolerance of the sun and tolerance for heat is much improved, and the propensity for the skin to burn is reduced, that type of thing. I read a bunch of anecdotes about this effect, and I was curious, so I wanted to try myself. I've all my life been sort of a fair-skinned person, and stayed out of the sun. I did have a tendency to burn, and I didn't really like the heat. But this year I started to, rethink it, and I said, people are talking about being able to enjoy the sun. I want to see if that applies to me. And so this year, as soon as the weather became right for it, which is, it takes until like May around here to really get some decent sunshine and decent warmth. And I started taking to the sun. I started going outside, taking my shirt off, getting sun on the weekends mainly. It's hard for me to do it during the week while I'm working. But on the weekends, I would take advantage of any sunny day and start to absorb the sun and see the effect on my skin. And not only weekends, but also, back in July, as I mentioned before, I had 2 vacations, one to Miami Beach and another out in Idaho, where it was hot and sunny. Idaho was even hotter than Florida. It was 100 degrees every day in Idaho. They just had a heat wave. So I really got to test my heat tolerance for heat and the sun exposure this year. And I sort of wanted to recap, since the season's kind of drawing to a close, kind of recap my experience with it. And it wasn't what I expected. Let me just say that I've done my sun exposure without any kind of protection on my skin at all. There's no sunscreen or whatever, which I've just got a natural approach. And from what I read, the sunscreen, what's in them, they're rather toxic and not healthy, and really don't do a whole lot, especially and they may be counterproductive, especially if your diet is loaded with seed oils, which mine isn't. I don't have any seed oil. So I've been going out just in my bare skin, and initially I did overdo it a bit on a couple occasions. In particular, I was out too long and I did have some burning. This might have been just because I needed to get used to how much was a proper length of time to spend in the sun, and also because my skin was probably, wasn't quite ready for the kind of dose that I was giving it. But I did have, on 2 occasions, I remember I did burn. But now, I mean, as the summer wore on and through repeated exposure, I don't burn anymore, and I kind of limit it to hour and a half, 2 hours tops. I think I've gone 2.5 hours, even at one point, but that's enough. The result is that I don't know if you can tell in these videos, but I'm tan, I'm brown, like I've never been before. Now, I've never really been a kind of person to get brown skin before, and I didn't go into this to try to get a great tan. It was more to just, I wanted to explore this and see if there was a tolerance for heat, because I enjoy being outside, and I would like to be able to be outside more often, and that's exactly what I found. So I've mentioned before that the sun exposure seemed to have a rejuvenative effect on my skin, like it was helping to heal and repair, and maybe even help with some of the leftover scarring that I have from the loose skin and the stretched out skin. So I've seen benefits in the skin. In addition to overall just, I think, feeling and looking healthier. It's just been really, really enjoyable. And beyond that, the thing that surprised me, none of that is too surprising. I mean, this is the kind of thing you might expect from being in the sun. But the thing that surprised me is that I've come to really enjoy the sun and the sun exposure, and frankly, to the point of I'm almost addicted to it, and I get like this kind of I hate to sound metaphysical, but it helps to instill like a connection to nature. The sun, when you're out in it, and I just get out in it and close my eyes and soak it up, you feel the power of the sun, the power, the energy. It just sort of radiates through you, and you feel connected to this life-giving force. And it just seems to, I go outside, I lay right on the ground, and it's just something about being grounded to nature. It's, again, this is maybe not going to make the most sense, but I'm just trying to put into words. I just realized this in the recent weeks, that I enjoy this connected aspect of being connected to the sun's energy, and it's just overpowering. And you put it together with my diet. My carnivore diet has sort of helped connect me to the natural world here on Earth. I just feel a better sense of my role in nature, my part in nature, and now combining that with the sun, it just everything seems to be connected and to click and to make sense. The sun is where life comes from. It's the life-giving force, and everything that's going on here is due to the sun. you know, the plants, the soil, the water, the animals, and eventually everything, you know, life returns to the soil and then repeats in this cycle over and over. I realize this is probably sounding a little strange, but anyway, part of my sun exposure, what I enjoy about it is this real kind of deep, and it seems sort of profound connection to the power that the sun provides. And it feels good, it feels rejuvenating, it just, I don't know, it's, I've just really come to like it. And honestly, that leads me to why I'm a little bit melancholy now that the sun season is ending, the days are getting shorter, the sun is lower in the sky, and so it's only a brief, you know, around here, Chicago, it's just a brief time of year where you can really get a lot of sun, you know, 4 months, 4.5 months, depending on how you want to stretch it. I mean, this Labor Day weekend, I was able to be out in the sun yesterday. It was partly cloudy, but I got some good sun. And today it started off very, very overcast and rainy, but I think it's going to clear up a little bit. It is clearing up. It has cleared up, and there'll be a chance to be in the sun. But it's sort of, these are the last few opportunities. I mean, there's sunny days. There's sunny days throughout the fall, and it feels good to be in the sun. But with the temperature dropping, it's not the kind of total exposure and immersion that I'm talking about, where you're just, let's say, laying out in the sun, you know, just in a bathing suit and feeling this kind of effect that I was talking about. It's more or less just, oh yeah, it's sunny and it feels good. So, and then, you know, we go into winter, and that is really, I don't know, I'm enjoying winters less and less, and last winter was kind of tough. It's just too long, and gray and overcast and cold, and I don't know, maybe I'm having like a rebirth as some kind of a sun worshiper or whatever, but I'm enjoying that, and I hope, I just wanted to report into my findings on the hypothesis of, for whatever reason, if it's diet, if it's due to the oils or whatever, I'm certainly more tolerant of heat. It's never too hot for me anymore. And I don't sweat. Like I said, even when I was out in Idaho, it's 100 degrees. I wasn't sweating, and it wasn't too hot. It was fine, you know, I'm perfectly comfortable in that weather. On the other hand, when it's in the 60s and overcast, I'm ready to put on a sweatshirt, and yeah, and then it only goes downhill. Around here, it goes downhill from there. So my whole spectrum has shifted, where I prefer heat, and I do not care for the cold. But we'll manage somehow. Maybe this inoculation, these heavy doses of sun exposure that I've had this summer are going to carry me through better this winter. Maybe it'll keep me optimistic and looking forward to spring. I hope so. But that's where we're at with the sun. So the other thing I wanted to touch on, just to follow up my last video, I think it was like what do I eat? What am I eating now? It was like a day's eating, which for me is one meal, so it was pretty much describing my one meal. I went into some detail. And it occurred to me after that video, I wanted to make something clear. You know, my channel is it's a lot about my transformation, my weight loss, my change in diet, and reclaiming my health. And I think a lot of people maybe are attracted to my channel because of the weight loss. I just want to make it clear, perfectly clear that what I'm eating now and what I described in that last video, my carnivore diet, it wasn't exactly, that wasn't the diet that I was using when I lost all the weight. I mean, I certainly haven't gained any weight since I went carnivore. In fact, I've lost a little bit, but I was already sort of at the end of my weight loss journey when I switched over to carnivore. So I wanted to make that clear, and I wanted to put up I'm putting up a graphic now which is going to show my total up-to-date weight loss graph. And it shows the entire journey. And what I've done is I've struck a line right down the center of it to divide my weight loss diet, which was, I call a low carb. It was a low carb diet and 1 meal a day, but I included, salads and vegetables and fruit routinely every day. That was part of, in addition to animal protein, but it was just much more weighted towards the salad and vegetables. And then you can see, when I was eating that, and then I switched to carnivore, so you can kind of, I wanted to make it clear that I'm not, if you watch my video last week, it's not I'm saying that, hey, I lost all this weight because of the carnivore diet. Maybe I could have done the same thing on a carnivore diet. I'm not sure. There's some people I think that do, but that wasn't my journey, let's say. I just sort of evolved like somewhere around halfway through my journey and moved over into carnivore. So I gave some thought to maybe doing another video showing, I was actually going to buy the vegetables and some fruit and salad and make that stuff and prepare it and even eat it and put that up as a video. But I didn't want to waste the food, number one, and I don't really want it. Number two, I just don't have a desire to do that. So I'm just gonna describe it, the type of foods, and I'll put that in a graphic here. What constituted my vegetables, you can see in there, and roughly between vegetables and salad, I'm going to say that was like 2/3 of my meal, and then the rest would be the protein, which I ate much less protein. Versus now I eat a couple pounds. I think during my weight loss, you might say it was probably more like 8 to 12 ounces, something like that, of protein, of animal protein. But so that's roughly the proportion, and this is sort of the types of things. This isn't a meal. This is just the types of things I was eating during my weight loss journey, and I just wanted to make that part of it clear. So the final thing I was going to touch on is just an update. I mean, usually at the end of the month, or at the beginning of the month, I kind of summarize where I'm at with things, and in terms of the metrics I follow, and everything is pretty much identical. I mean, I think my weight for the month was, it didn't vary more than it's almost identical to last month's weight, so the weight has been stable. Blood pressure, believe it or not, I don't know. I check that like once a month. It went down. It was like this morning, 87/57 with a 43 pulse. So I mean, that's if the saturated fat is clogging my arteries and causing me to have atherosclerosis or hardening of the arteries, it's not showing up in the blood pressure at all yet. So The one metric that did sort of change is I track, in addition to weight, I track the body fat. And I've noticed when I look at my graph of body fat, a couple months ago, it sort of started to trend upwards. You know, it hit a low. I was getting close to like 16%. And then over the next 2 months, it's just been tracking higher, and now it's like pushing closer to 18%. And the weight, it's not that the weight changed, and it's not that my waist didn't change. In fact, my waist seems to have gone down. So I'm trying to understand this really. No change in the weight, no change in the waist, but body fat going up. And I don't know, I'm still mulling that over, but the timing of it, I think, is maybe not so coincidental, because back late June, 1st of July is when I started my I switched to heavy whipping cream in my coffee. And I know, I mean, this is probably the most major change I've made to my food routine over the past several months. And I know I like it so much that it is definitely, I know it has caused me to drink more coffee, more coffees and larger coffees. And this is the only thing I can think of, is this extra heavy cream that I'm getting is somehow registering as body fat somehow. I don't know. You would think I would. I'm not sure about that, but I'm going to test. I'm going to cut back. I'm going to maybe just have the. And the reason I'm going to cut back is number one. I first of all, not only because this trend in the body fat going up, but because I almost feel like I'm addicted to that coffee with the heavy cream. It's like I start thinking about it in the morning, and I just can't wait to get it, and I'm really sensitive now to any kind of addiction or compulsion to eat a certain way. That's a remnant of my past. That's the way I used to operate, and it seems foreign to me now. I'm trying to stay away from any kind of addiction, so certainly, if this is an addiction to the cream, I want to nip it in the bud and put it in its place. Let's say I don't have to have the heavy cream, 3 and 4 times a day. I think if you add it up, I'm getting a fair amount of calories from that. But so anyway, I think I'm going to do that. Maybe I'm going to have just on the weekend. I might have a Saturday and Sunday have one coffee with heavy cream. But during my work week, I'll just have coffees the way I used to, which is either black or with the half and half, or the generic cream-like substance that you get at Dunkin' Donuts, whatever that is. I don't really care to have that kind of stuff. A lot of that kind of stuff, because I don't know what's in it, frankly. But in small doses, I'm not sure that it's that harmful. So that's it. I mean, basically everything's going well. Like I said, weight stable, maintaining stable. You saw earlier, I'll put it up again, my weight loss graph. You can see that it's just in a nice, what you would call a maintenance trend. There's a little fluctuations up and down here and there, but that's natural. I'm in the zone where I ultimately thought I would end up, which is like, for the past several months, it's just been kind of in a range, let's say a low of 163, a high of 167, kind of a mean of 165. That's about right for me. Yeah, so, and the waist is funny because it changes. I can get such different waist measurements. You know, a week ago I just checked it and I was normally where I you know, where I check out is like right around 36 at the waist, 35 3/4, let's say. This morning I checked it, and I checked and rechecked it, and it's like 34 and change. I'm like, I don't quite understand. I mean, I don't know if I got what's going on, but my waist seems to fluctuate a lot, and it's not intentional fluctuation. I just kind of try to do the same thing in the same location, the same measurement, but and I retest it. I don't know if it's because of bloat or it depends on what I've eaten or what, but maybe it's the sunshine. I don't know, but so yeah, everything's good. Otherwise, I said I was going to try to keep this short, and maybe I've not done a good job doing that, but I'm gonna, I think, wrap it up. I'm gonna try to do, I don't know what today. I got a few errands that I'd like to run, do some things that I've been putting off and procrastinating, and I'm hoping that we'll get at least some partial sunshine this afternoon, where I can get out and maybe have another good dose of that life-giving sun exposure and enjoy that sensation. Yeah, that'll do it today. I think I'll just cap this off now. Thank you if you've listened to this point, to my ramblings, and thanks for all of my subscribers and commenters, and all the various ways people are getting in touch with me. It's not only through YouTube, but through email and other social media. This message is getting out, and I seem to be touching people, certain people that are inspired or maybe motivated to try some different approaches, and I'm happy for that. That's the whole point of why I do these videos. Okay, well, I wish y'all success on your journeys and that you have a great weekend. And until next time, this is Jim signing off. Take care.